Hello, everybody, and once happy Halloween. This is Scott Morgan, Roth Motor City Madmouth, and I am out here at Dyersville, Iowa. A bucket list place for sure, the Field of Dreams movie site. And please be joined by Craig Purcell. Well, Craig, you know, this is round two for us, but now we're in the actual offices itself. So let's talk about the history of Field of Dreams.
Okay. Well, once the site was chosen, there was a lot of prep work that was going to have to go into the making of the movie. And what a lot of people don't know who didn't live in the Midwest during that time, 1988 was our worst drought year since the 30s. There was literally nothing growing here, which is very difficult when you have a film predicated on having a full cornfield. So what they ended up doing, Universal had reserved some artificial corn stalks that were made overseas out of silk just in case. And we were given a drop dead date that if we didn't have shoulder high corn, they were going to use artificial corn in our soil. Well, obviously the words artificial corn don't go over very well in the state of Iowa. We got special permission we could dam the stream that runs alongside the field to irrigate. When that was no longer an option, they would take the tanker truck from the Dyersville Fire Department over to Dubuque, fill that with Mississippi River water, bring that out here, and whenever they were not filming, there was water hitting that field and that crop. And to say it grew is an understatement. It just shot up. Actually, the opening scene, Kevin Costner is standing on a platform a foot off the ground in about 6.5 feet of freshly grown Iowa corn. None of the artificial corn made the movie.
No kidding. So let's talk about height, okay? And I hope we're okay by saying it, but can you imagine what a guy like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and any bigger guy would be like when they're dealing with corn that high? Does corn?
And it gets taller too.
Does it really?
Yes, it does.
So for you basketball players that are looking to come out to the Field of the Dream site, okay, I'm not going to get into any specifics, but you're going to find that corn is pretty tall, and it could, for all we know, with you guys, it could be out there at waist level or neck level, but it's certainly a great place to take a photo. And with that said, okay, let's segue over to popular places, Craig, where folks like to take photos.
That is the easiest question, and you already answered it. We could station an employee out by the cornfield for an 8-hour shift, and I guarantee you they would stay busy. That's the most iconic photo that everybody wants. And of course, provided there's enough people, if it's a father and a son, they're going to have somebody take a picture of them playing catch, as we say it in the Midwest. Not having a catch, as they say in the movie. That's more the East Coast influence. That's how it's set out there. And that's a question we get quite often is, we don't say that back here. No, but Kevin Costner's dad in the movie was originally, he was born in North Dakota, but had moved to New York. So that is kind of a hearkening to his father. His dad would have said that way. So when he was asking Ray to play catch with him, it would have been, do you want to have a catch?
All right, well, obviously we all know, folks, okay, if you're going to come here to the Field of Dreams site, you want to go by the corn. But, you know, let's face the reality, when you have fans and individuals, you have the third base bleachers, and then you have the first base bleachers. It probably isn't too bad either, is it?
Oh, no, not at all. There are lots of different family spots that, and I mean, as employees, we know exactly how to frame a picture. Okay, if you people sit there, you can have the Field of Dreams thing right behind you, and we can get the house. Oh, if you want this picture, here's the best angle to take it from. Tour guests get free pictures of themselves sitting on the front porch swing. That's also a very, very popular location for photos. But anybody that has a special reason for being here, you'll see if you have 100 people here, there's 100 different photos that mean something to each one.
Well, being a catcher, I could not resist getting behind the dish because that was a position I played myself as a kid in Little League ball. And of course, for all those ambitious pitchers out there, yeah, there's a pretty good hill out there that you can take photos as well.
Yeah, and oddly enough, when you talk about the pitcher's mound, we also get the question, why is there a dirt path from the mound up to home plate? Because in the movie that doesn't show. The last time the field was sodded, when that sod is fresh, visitors are still getting closer to their children to pitch balls to them. Seldom are you all the way back at 60 feet 6 inches. So that is just a constant wear pattern where sod is never going to take there. But that's what we want, people using the field. So yeah, that's like a badge of distinction that's been worn down by generations and years of fathers, sons, mothers, daughters, grandpas, and grandmas throwing a ball.
Do you guys find a lot of locals are actually playing ball on the field at night or during the day, or do you actually charge them to actually go out there and have games?
No, there is no charge. It is a constant pickup game from opening in the morning to closing in the evening. Anybody can take part, and that's widely known. People will follow the unwritten rules of the Sandlot. If you want to play, you don't bat right away. You play the field first. Right. Then you come in and take a turn at bat. You'll see complete strangers again. If it's a young child, they will ask, do you want it underhand? Do you want me slow? Do you want a softball? And normally if it's a boy that's 12 or older, they want you all the way back at 60 feet 6 inches, throwing as much heat as you can muster.
Really? Unbelievable. You know, it's amazing when you have pickup games here, and I know when I was playing golf at some golf courses where I would actually lose balls to the actual course itself. Do you find that individuals that are playing actual pickup games lose their baseballs and then you end up collecting baseballs if they can't find the ones that they have, if they do have exceptional power?
Well, the ones that we collect, and we have a big collection, we don't necessarily think they've all been lost accidentally. It happens too often. A ball player never forgets where his glove is at.
Right.
You don't just leave it sitting someplace to be found. These are cherished mementos. Maybe this ball was the last one you played catch with your dad with. People will make a wish or write a message on it, throw it into the corner. Because everything potentially has that level of meaning to it, none of it gets pitched. We've got a corn crib full of old gloves, old baseballs, softballs, you name it, that's been left here to honor the people who they represent.
You know, I've been fortunate in my lifetime to have been to Cooperstown a couple of times. And to me, that was one of the most popular baseball attractions I've ever had. Coming here to the Field of Dreams site here in Dyersville, Iowa will certainly unquestionably rank in there. And I know I'll be watching this movie 9 million more times to begin with, especially now that I've actually been here. But when you describe this place per se, okay, do you find that what's so beautiful about your job is people walk away happy when they come here, where their minds are at?
Oh, absolutely. This is, and so many people, I was actually talking to a gentleman last night that he used the exact phraseology. He said, this is my happy place. And I knew just what that meant because even before I was an employee here, I would retreat to the bleachers if I was having a bad day at my regular office job, grab a sandwich, sit in the bleachers, and it just kind of centered me. It was far enough removed from the real world that you just felt that you had put some distance in between you and whatever was giving you a hard time. And you would just sit here and just breathe in all the positivity. I mean, it's palpable here. You can just feel that everybody is in a good mood. And that just, I mean, it circulates like a cloud. And the more time you spend under it, the better you're going to feel when you leave.
Well, it sounds like to me it circulates all over the world because you're telling me earlier today that you get people from overseas and internationally that come to this venue.
Well, I mean, we have been open as a tourist site And actually, let me go back on that. It didn't intend necessarily to be a tourist site. The movie debuted over in Dubuque, April of 1989. Roughly 2 weeks later, Don Lansing, the farmer who owned the property at the time, had his first visitor, all the way from the state of New York. Just said he had to come and see this magic baseball field before it was gone. And that's how the whole, okay, if one person is coming, I bet you there are people closer that are on their way too. And certainly the numbers just kept going up, and they've been that way. People, literally from all over the world. Since 1989, 1990. Yeah, if we went back through all the guest books that were people who signed and counted the foreign countries, I'm sure it would just be staggering. People that don't even necessarily speak the language. They may not do a house tour, but they still understand the movie. I mean, obviously they've seen it in a language they could understand the movie in. And it's got messages that, I mean, not only translate across generations, but across nationalities too. Fathers and sons, second chances, making the most of your time. Yeah, there's not a culture where those are not, I mean, main points of living and growing.
So are there any particular times of the year that are a lot more popular than others? I know you made a very interesting comment earlier, how people come here even during the winter and then you can actually see footprints inside the snow. I mean, that to me is unreal.
Oh yeah, it definitely warms the heart. The obvious summer vacation time, we're always busy. Labor Day weekend is always huge. But yeah, like you had said, there have been times where, and we are open for tours 359 days a year. You do have to pre-book during the off season, 48 hours in advance, just so we know there's people to cover. But yeah, I have been here when there's 8 inches of snow in February, and you will see footprints around the bases. You'll see people in driving rainstorms with umbrellas, certain places. Clothes will dry. Memories never fade.
Well, baseball is a universal language, folks. I don't care if you go around the world and you see your famous fast food places. You know, everybody knows what the fast food places look like around the world. And baseball is synonymous with that diamond. So I don't care what language you're talking about, the universal language is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And there's no place like home.
Now, when we talk about nationalities, and I know that you get a lot of different types of people, and, you know, to me, the Latin culture, the Japanese, Korean, just to name a few, do you find that those are some of the more popular cultures that come here, or is there anything that we're missing out here in terms of international culture?
There's not really one that's prevalent. I mean, I know I've had people from the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Colombia, Brazil, Portugal. I mean, the list would keep going on. And there's not one particular group that visits more than any other group. Again, it's just the universal happy place.
Yeah, again, folks, having been to Cooperstown, New York, and now being able to really come to the Field of Dreams, how on earth can anybody not make an attempt to come here? So when they come here, what airport is the most common, or how do you get to Dyersville?
Well, there are several options. There's the Quad City Airport, that's in Moline, Illinois, is close. Cedar Rapids Airport, that is actually the Eastern Iowa Airport. It's located in Cedar Rapids. That's maybe 45 minutes from the field. You can fly into Dubuque, which is about 30 miles due east of here. I actually had one group, well actually it was a couple, that I could detect a little bit of an accent, so I'd asked them where they're from. They were from England. So of course I asked them, oh, well, what else have you seen while you were over in the States? She goes, oh no, we came just for this.
No kidding.
It was his 60th birthday. They had flown into O'Hare the night before, drove over that morning, did a house tour. They were going straight from here to O'Hare.
Really?
Flying back home.
Wow, no kidding. So let's take a look at the night situation. I know in the film they talk about everybody being lined up on the road, you know, with the nighttime. Give me a visualization of what that's like.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that think that is either CGI, which of course was not available in 1988, or that was somehow done on a soundstage or whatever. What you see in that scene is truly what you get. Universal, before they even came to town, had advertised in every local Eastern Iowa newspaper that they were going to need cars and pickups for a movie. They said that the first 1,500 people that registered, at some point their car would be used in the film. So that gave them a potential pool of that many cars to choose from for the closing scene. We don't know the exact number that was used, but we do know it stretched a good 2.5 miles back toward Highway 136 in Dyersville. That scene was shot 3 different times. It was all shot by helicopter. And by the third take, they had to figure out how to light it because it was now dark. So what they ended up doing, they had been simulcasting through a couple of local radio stations. And the director got a hold of the DJ. He said, this should work. Have everybody turn their headlights on. And when I give the signal, start flashing your lights. So what that really is everybody flashing their lights at the same time, but obviously not synced up. All those lights blinking back and forth makes you think you see motion on that road. But there really is none. The only motion in that scene, the first 5 cars that pull into the parking lot are driving. Everybody else is stationary, but the helicopter holding the camera above it is moving. And that creates the impression of motion on the ground.
What can I tell you, folks? When you're filming things, it makes the imagination run amok for sure. Just so you know, folks, you can find our videos on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. There's no cost to subscribe there. Our Twitter handle is @TribuneSouth. And of course, you can see all videos and programs as content on www.southfloridatribune.com as well. Just want to make sure we put those out to you. Are there any other things that you feel that people should know overall here, Craig, that we haven't talked about? I know that there's probably we could talk about things, but I know that there's a downtown here, Dyersville, has a place for reading material as well, don't they?
Yeah, the city of Dyersville has an exhibition called If You Build It that includes more information about the making of the movie and choosing of the site and all of that. We have our movie site website at fodmoviesite.com. We've got a lot of exclusive material on there as well. Some dealing with just about every facet of what we have talked about.
What about hotels in the area? A lot of people, where am I going to stay out here?
Dyersville has 3 hotels. We also will get people that come over from Dubuque. Actually, Galena, Illinois is another popular destination because it's a lot of times people are going, this isn't their end destination. They're planning a trip from here to here, but they knew, oh, yeah, we're also within a certain amount of miles, and they'll make us a side trip. So a lot of the times we will get people that have been staying in Galena.
So in other words, you have a lot of cities probably within about an hour from here,
yes,
where
yes,
they can easily make the trek here. And of course, you designated the airports and so forth. Do you find that a lot of people, I know whether they fly, but do you find that many of your travelers actually drive here more so than they fly?
Well, it's hard to say there because a lot of the people, I mean, if you ask them about their plates on their vehicle, because obviously we, with as many people as we come here, we'll get all 50 states represented in a year as well. But a lot of people, they're in rental vehicles, so okay, they have flown. It's just a matter, some people like flying, some don't. Others are in no particular hurry and just, no, we're driving cross country. rented a Winnebago, and we're taking 2 months off. We'll get those people too.
So again, we're talking about 197 acres, is that correct?
197. Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about tourist numbers.
Okay, generally we'll average probably close to 100,000 people a year. The numbers have always been constant. Good economy, bad economy, people will still show up here. If it's a bad economy, maybe it's because you want to feel better. You go to the place that makes you happy. Good economy, you're feeling good. You go to the place again that makes you happy.
But didn't you say that you at times could get in upwards of 200,000 people to come out here?
That could be our number this year. We got a very good boost in national exposure from the big league game that was held in August. We did have to go on hiatus temporary for tours and everything on the property, just so Major League Baseball could have everything locked down and secure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the more publicity you get, and this is no reason not to ever include this, but I know that with Frank Thomas obviously impressed with what he saw, that anytime you have an individual like him who, all right, you've caught his attention, and a guy like him who's a Hall of Famer, you would think his presence alone can only enhance the experience a lot more than that. I know there's other names, we're not going to get into MLB stuff, but you've got, when I've talked to some of the locals in town when we ate at a local restaurant, they say, wait till Frank Thomas gets his hands in it. Who knows what's going to happen? Because I could see down the road that you say anybody can play ball down here. But when you look into that visual down the road, you never know what kind of little leagues and other things can form as a result. But get your foot in the door, you put Dyersville on the map, you see what you have here, and then anything's possible with the domino effect.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's in keeping with the spirit of the movie too. You dream big, big things happen.
Anything else that you want to add to that you want to put out there for people to take from this? Once again, folks, okay, we are in the offices of the Field of Dreams movie site. My name is Scott Morganroth, and I'd be joined by Craig Purcell. Thanks for being with us here today, here on the Sports Exchange.
My pleasure, Scott.
Anything else you want to add?
We look forward to seeing anybody either make a return visit or their first visit.
And I want to thank your boss, give him a mention.
Roman Weinberg,
for giving us the opportunity to spend a little time here on the Field of Dreams site. And I tell you what, folks, I've talked about Cooperstown a lot, but this is a bucket list item in every sense of the word, okay? And I got to tell you, for being on Halloween, okay, this is a treat for myself and my videographer, Candy Ebling, who's doing all the work behind the scenes. And you know, it's just amazing how we talk about Halloween, treat, football season, and the World Series going on. I can tell you right now, folks, I know how I will always remember Halloween of 2021. I'm one of those individuals that is a little tentative about flying because of the pandemic going on there, and I like to drive. So for me, driving here was really nothing, and I'm hoping that my presence here will bring an increased awareness to the social media following I have on the different sites to draw more individuals in here because of the exceptional cooperation of all you folks, and the hospitality has been nothing short of outstanding. So what can I say, folks? I'm living my Field of Dreams here in Dyersville, Iowa, and for those of you that know I like to travel, well, you know what? I couldn't think of any other way to go ahead and do things. I want to leave you folks on one note, okay? And that's one note that hopefully you'll stand by, okay? We don't have 9 lives. We have to make the most of the one that we have. You know, you live every day for your last. And being in places like this, or anything that you choose to do in life, this is what it's called, living the dream, the American dream. And on this particular, it's in Field of Dreams. So once again, Craig, I can't thank you very much for your time. You've been very helpful, learned a lot from you today. And folks, we hope you enjoyed the video in the home, as well as one in the office, as well as the live presentation that we had on Facebook on the Diamond. So once again, Craig, God bless. Thank you very much. And we hope to stay in touch with you for sure.
All right, great.
Thank you.